Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we've got a very special treat. Danae is here with us, and we're going to be talking about her amazing journey as she has dealt with cancer on 3 separate occasions and lives to tell the tale and is now helping other individuals. So I'm really excited to get into this, so stay tuned. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. We need to start focusing more on the individual. All right, Danae. So we've had the opportunity to chat a little bit, get each other's vibes. You've been telling me about, Southern California. I've been telling you about traffic here in Dallas. And I'm really excited. I feel like your story and your journey is going to be super inspirational. We've had a couple interviews. Well, I don't know. I've only posted one so far, I think. Well, no, 2, where we talk about cancer. But I'm really glad that we've had members who want to kind of talk about this journey, because I feel like cancer is one of them things that is taboo. It's like everyone's affected, everyone gets it, and we don't really understand it, and it's killing a lot of us. But we have to share these stories where we're able to survive and thrive after cancer. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So let's start at the very beginning. I usually like to figure out what was going on in your life before the diagnosis, before any of that happened. What was your lifestyle like? What were your eating habits like? Did you have a lot of stress in your life? Things like that.
So prior to being diagnosed, I've actually had 3 different kinds of cancer 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So 3 different kinds, 5 times. Prior to being diagnosed the first time in 2006, I lived a very toxic lifestyle. What I mean by toxic is I ate very toxic foods. I was raised on, my mom is German and my dad is Hispanic. So I was raised on meat and potatoes with everything, tortillas, beans, all that. I really wasn't raised with the fundamentals of proper nutrition. It was just eat your 3 meals a day, you eat what you're given, and that's it. But I took those fundamentals with me as I grew up, because that was what I was taught to know. I didn't know any different.
Right.
And then I was living in England for 5 years. And so I was in England for work, and I was also in my first marriage, which was very toxic, which led me to emotional eat more, toxic marriage. It was very negative vibes and very low vibrational relationship that I was in, and that manifested itself into what I believe with what I was eating into my first cancer, which was thyroid cancer.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's yeah, it seems like you had a few different elements at play there. I think that tends to be the one of the correlations between, everyone's story. There's always toxic eating is always like there at the top.
Yep.
But then emotionally, people usually aren't in good places. And I don't know if it's the toxic food that puts you in a bad place emotionally. Obviously, being in a toxic relationship can do that as well. But they definitely seem to correlate.
I think it's a cycle. You learn toxic eating habits, or you learn toxic relationships, and then one begets another. And
right.
it's just, it's a cycle. It's a correlation. I think that I ate to feel better, and I ate what I knew, which was toxic foods.
Right.
And then I was in my toxic relationship. So when the food wasn't fulfilling me anymore, I was going here to get my needs met, and it wasn't happening. And I think at the end of the day as well, I had to learn a lot of self-love. Because no one's gonna love you, and you're not gonna get that love that you're looking for in toxic relationships or food until you learn to love yourself. So that's where my journey started in 2006 with my first cancer, which was thyroid.
Okay. So I think getting that diagnosis for anyone would be just like life altering, very scary. What was it like for you? You were young. What was it like?
Yeah. So I was 26. and I was living in another country at the time when I got the diagnosis. And I was a mom of two,
Wow.
two little girls. So it was very scary for me. It's very scary when the doctors are asking you about an advance directive, asking you about, telling you basically to get your affairs in order.
Wow.
And you're like, what? I'm 26. Like, my life is just starting. So that was kind of a pretty big wake up call. So we came back from England so I could get treated. And I was good for a while. They removed my whole thyroid. I had radiation, localized radiation, and chemo, 3 rounds. And then I started, I started some toxic medication,
Right.
uh, synthetic hormones. And it was to the point where for the first 2 years, I would literally sleep all day and all night. I would drop my girls off at school, come home, sleep, get up, go get them, make dinner, put them to bed, sleep. I mean, it was all I did.
Wow.
I was, because I didn't change the eating habits yet at that point.
Right.
And
Right.
I hadn't correlated all the toxicity that was in my life that was keeping my body acidic and just angry.
Mm.
So 2 years after that, in 2008, I was diagnosed with bilateral ovarian tumors. One tumor of the same size on each bilateral across from each other on each ovary. Um, the first surgery I had, they actually went in and removed the tumors and saved my ovaries. So that way I didn't have to go into early menopause at such a young age.
Right.
And then a year later, I got sent to a not better, but a different oncologist at a different hospital because they came back. And the oncologist I was working with was like, I can't help you.
Mm.
So this oncologist actually removed my left ovary to cut down on the amount of estrogen hormones I had in my body, removed the tumors. I went through radiation and chemo, and everything was fine. Still hadn't figured out the correlation yet of the
Right.
toxic food and toxic energy in my life and toxic people. So a year later, everything was fine with my markers, and I left my first marriage. Started getting healthier, a lot healthier. Uh, and then in 2011, I was having problems sleeping. I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, what is going on? So I would literally sleep in like a lazy boy recliner in the living room because I had to be propped up. So I went to the doctor and they said, oh, you have tonsillitis. We're going to have to take your tonsils. I used to get it all the time as a kid. My mom never had my tonsils taken out. So no worries. So I had a MRI, and it turns out I had a parotid tumor, which is a tumor of your salivatory gland, growing on my tonsil.
Wow.
And I went and got 3 different opinions of how they can take it out and treat it. Ended up going with a hospital here in LA that was really good. And they were like, hey, we're either going to be able to take it out through your mouth or cut your face in half
Oh.
and go in and get it. But basically, here's the catch. You won't know which way we had to do it until you wake up. And so,
Wow.
right. Because it depended on how big the tumor was and if they could get it all out through my throat. Thank God, by the grace of God, they were
Mm.
able to go in my mouth and basically do a tonsillectomy and pull the tumor out with my tonsil. So it
Okay.
was attached to my tonsil. Thank God I never had them out as a kid. And yeah. So had more radiation. I had 6 rounds of radiation that time. But one thing that I know now about radiation that I didn't know then, it's one of the most toxic things you can put in your body. It made cancer cells in other local areas grow.
Right.
So that's how I got the parotid, because when I had
Wow.
radiation from the thyroid.
Right.
So, and I hadn't changed my eating habits, and I was still in that toxic marriage for a few years after the thyroid. So nothing had changed. So of course more is going to grow.
Right.
So a year after the first parotid, I got it again on the other side.
Wow.
This time, I didn't have to have surgery. They were able to reduce it with chemo. So reduced it, went away, everything was great. I get checkups every year. So everything has been fine up until this past August.
Okay.
This past August, I got a high tumor marker blood test come back. And ever since August, they've been testing me like every few weeks. I'm okay right now because I've made these changes.
Mm.
If I hadn't made the changes towards I've tried a few things like exercise routines, nutritional routines, you know, meal kits that you order, prepackaged foods that are really high in soy. Which I learned was the worst thing for someone who doesn't have a thyroid and has hormonal issues
Yeah.
is soy. I didn't know that. So it's been a lot of trial and error for me to find out what works,
Mm.
but you know, it's definitely worth it because I feel like there's a reason why I've been able to overcome all this. And I feel like it's to help other people. I've changed my career field to now into the healing arts. So I'm very thankful for that. I get to help people every day. And I just wake up thinking a higher power and
Right.
just keep on trucking, and changed my nutrition. And now I fast. I do the longest fast I've done is a 10-day water fast, which I've found is quite easy for me because I don't have a thyroid, so I don't get hungry like normal people, like normal.
Wow.
Yeah, I can, my mom used to say, are you not, I could go days before I started fasting. I used to go days without eating and just be like, you know, I'm fine, which the doctors always told me was bad for me.
Right. Right.
They're like, you need to eat, you need to get your metabolism going, you don't have a thyroid. And I'm just like, but I'm not hungry.
Right.
And then, not having a thyroid, and going through the chemo and radiation, you see the weight go up.
Right.
So I had started at 244 in August, and I am currently now at 171.
Wow.
So I'm trying to push towards the 140s, 150s, but the holidays got me. But that's another thing too. I mean, it's life is trial and error. I've been through a lot. I've come through a lot, but you never find one perfect way. You got to find what's best for you.
Exactly. That's one of the things that, I really try to get across is that I can give you advice and tell you about what other people have done. But at the end of the day, if you're committed to the process, you really got to do the trial and error because
Yeah.
there's 100 different ways to skin a cat, but what's the best way for you? So
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I can't imagine what this had to be like a crazy emotional roller coaster going from battling cancer to they're telling you you're going to die and get your affairs in order to you got through that, and then it coming back again, this time trying to claim your ability to give birth and have children again,
Right.
which I mean that within itself it's its own set of issues, and then then it coming back again and now having to lose one of your ovaries. Is that what it was? Your ovaries?
My left ovary. Yep.
So just such an amazing. So at what point in time you said you kind of started eating healthier between the getting the last cancer and the I
Right.
guess the last two times? What made it click? Did someone say something, or did you just start doing research?
No. So a friend of mine was doing, she was doing a program, and I got on the program with her, and it was like this program. It was $400 a month, and they send you like meals and prepackaged food. And that really helped me get to a point where I was able to like shrink my stomach and not feel dependent on food.
Okay.
Then I was like, this isn't something I can sustain for the rest of my life. So let me start doing some research into what else will work for me. And I came across a healthy alternative, and I became enthralled in it. I watched every video. I did research of my own based on some of the things you guys talked about. I really just used it as a really great template of my own to insert different things that I felt worked with me. Like I said earlier, there were certain cruciferous vegetables I couldn't have because of my thyroid. I need a certain amount of iodine. I don't eat any free estrogens like soy. I don't eat corn. So there's certain things that I don't do because it works for my body. And
Right.
because the trial and error that I told you that I've been going through for a few years. I mean, it's not something that I think will ever click just overnight for anyone. It's just a, you know, a combination of the template, of the knowledge, and the want to get better. I mean, that's a big thing too, is the want.
Right.
I became very angry for a while, like, and even that anger manifested itself into toxicity and negative energy in me, because I was like, why me? Why me? And then I woke up one day like, why not me? Why not me? I am strong enough to figure this out. I am strong enough to educate myself. I'm not disabled in any way.
Mm.
So I took it upon myself to educate myself, do the trial and error, learn different things from a bunch of different things, because the body as a whole needs to be treated, and not just nutrition or not just exercise. It's a bunch of different things. And I use every single compartmentalized idealization as a template.
Wow. That's major.
Yeah.
I loved how you transitioned from being a victim to really grabbing the reins and being like, no, like I'm gonna fix this, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to just feel like, yeah, why me? There's hundreds of millions of people. How do I end up like this? You know what I mean? And now you can kind of, now that you've done the work for others, honestly, you know, and that's why doing this interview is so exciting for me, because you get to share. There's somebody out there who's had cancer
Right.
after cancer after cancer, and they've never heard a story like this before. And now you'll
It's
be
not
able to
normal.
inspire them. Huh?
It's not normal.
No, it's right.
Well, I mean, and I got to the point where if the doctors had the answers, I would have already had it by now. They don't. They know as much as me, which is basically nothing. Each case is individual. They didn't know anything about my case.
Right.
So it got to the point where I couldn't depend, although the medical profession in itself as a whole is great. It's wonderful. We've come a long way. But as far as my case and what I needed, they didn't have what I needed. So I had to go out there and find it for myself.
Right. And that's kind of the key too, because in general, when you're dealing with the medical profession, it's somebody who just met you a lot of times. You know, a
Right.
lot of times we're not dealing with doctors that known us all our lives and, you know, has all of our paperwork or our documentation and whatever. And even that, you could have a parent or somebody who's known you all your life, but they don't know you like you know you, right?
Right.
So
Right.
someone can easily, like, I've heard people say, oh, you know, when I was dealing with my issue, I had an infection for 10 years, you know, and people be like,
I
oh,
saw
you
that.
know, yeah. They're like, oh, it's in your head, you know, it's not real. They've done all the tests, that's not real. You're creating it. Like I'm like, how did I create this? Like, I never thought of this. I never thought of this irritation one day. I'm just like,
Why would I want to?
right. Like, why would I want to? This is
Right.
real. So it's amazing when you can just take control and try different things. Because obviously people will say vegetables are good for you, right? Everybody says that. Everybody knows that. But for you, in your case, certain vegetables aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and like we had spoke about earlier before we got on the recording, you know, with what I practice as far as physical therapy, I go towards treating the body as a whole.
right.
When you know, you don't just treat a patient for the one, you don't just treat the wrist if they have a broken wrist, you have to treat the whole arm, you have to treat the shoulder. They overcompensate, you have to treat the other side.
Mm,
I kind of feel the same way about the doctors that I was seeing. They were just treating the cancer. They weren't telling me, you know what, let's have you talk to someone, a therapist, because you're in toxic situations or you have a toxic mind, or they weren't treating it as a whole. Let's send you to a nutritionist, or the nutritionists that I did see and the vegan nutritionists that I saw were people that I saw on my own without, you know, without doctors telling me that I should, you know, seek this out. They were just like, come back, we'll treat the cancer. If it doesn't go away, we'll do this, we'll do that. But never did they say, let's treat what's going on with you? It was like, I saw them for 10 minutes. How
Mm.
can you know the whole picture in
Right.
10 minutes? What caused it? What brings it? The elements that I'm living in. My dad was in the military. I lived on military bases my whole life. So I was around all that radiation. I mean,
Mm.
you know, it's something that you have to take into consideration the whole picture when you're treating something that's in your body, because all those elements affect it.
So when the doctors sit down with you, because I've never asked this question, when they sit down with you, they don't ask you like personal questions like that, like what's your diet like, what's your relationship like. They don't ask those questions.
No, the most I've ever gotten asked by one doctor was in the emergency room when I couldn't breathe and I thought I had a tonsil infection. The
Mm.
most thing they said was, "Well, maybe if you lose some weight. What do you eat? You need to lose weight." And that was very obvious
Right.
because of what I was going through.
Right.
Um, and I, of course, like I said, I wasn't eating right, so I already knew I need to lose weight, but they wouldn't ask me or tell me anything I didn't already know.
Right.
They would state the obvious, but they would never give me um a template for how to deal with that.
Right.
It was just, or we can give you metformin, we can give you glucophage, you're not diabetic, but we can give you these things to help you lose weight. And it's like pill after pill after pill. There was one vegan nutritionist, when I went in to see him, I had a laundry basket full of medication.
Wow.
Laundry basket. I mean, because I was self-medicating with, I was just going online, okay, I should take cayenne pepper pills for this, and I should take, cinnamon pills for that, because I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know what my body was deficient in. I wasn't knowledgeable. So he took that whole basket, hundreds of dollars worth of pills and medication, and threw it out. And he's like, we are going to feed your body with food and nutrition. And back then, he was the one who actually recommended fasting. But I was like, this guy is crazy. What do you mean fasting? I was like, there is no way I'm not eating. I'm like, there is no way I'm going to skip. What is he talking about? I'm going to die. I'm going to pass out.
Yeah.
Needless to say, fast forward a few years, and I feel so much more energy when I don't eat.
Right. That's
So
so
I wish I would have listened to them.
that kind of goes back to what you said earlier, is people sometimes people have to be ready. They have to have their come to Jesus moment, and it's like, okay, all bets are off. What do I need to do? You know what I
Yep.
mean? I'll do whatever you say. And it's sad that we have to sometimes get to that point, because some people never make it. Some people, they pass away
Right.
before they get to that point. But it's what I've learned, is that we live in backwards world. And so everything that we've been taught is the opposite. It's like the opposite of what we should do. And
Right.
so, they're like, oh, you should, like, one of the craziest things I heard as a kid, oh, to lose weight, eat 6 meals a day. I don't care if the meals are big or small. You can't explain that to me in a way where it makes sense. Eat more to lose weight. That doesn't,
I did that. I
right.
tried that.
Yeah. People do it. We all do it. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? It's ludicrous. So that's
It's
just
like that very cliche saying is so true. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and
right.
expecting different results. That's how I felt like I was living my life every day. Like, why is it not working? Or why is this not changing? Or, why can't I fit in these jeans? Or, why am I this size? And, there's no nutritional value on the drive-through packaging when you go home and you're eating that taco. Or it's just, there's no nutritional value.
Right.
It's not good. So
Good point.
I just didn't know if you don't know better, you can't do better. And I
Right.
didn't know, I thought, oh, if I get a taco with no meat and just beans and a bunch of lettuce, I'm good. But
Right.
in your mind, you think that's okay, but there's still no nutritional value. You're not getting enough of the salad on the taco or enough of the beans, and then the taco's fried. And, I just didn't know. And a lot of people just don't know.
Right. And the other thing too is that it's that word healthier. Healthier is like, it's like a dangerous word. It's like when you're a kid and you say, oh, that sucks. And your mom's like, you don't use that word. That's what
Yep.
healthier is with the healthy alternative. You don't use that word. Healthier is not a
Yep.
real thing. It's like,
I
Either
agree.
you're eating healthy or you're not. And
Right.
what we try to do is we try to eat healthier. And it's like,
Right.
you may see some benefit from eating healthier. You might, but you're not eating healthy. Therefore, you're still going to be sick.
Right.
Especially when you're dealing with major diseases, you don't want to be eating healthier because all you're doing is kind of prolonging the inevitable. And I think what happens with a lot of people is they get discouraged because they're like, oh, I've been eating healthier and I've been exercising, I've been doing all these things, and I'm still getting worse. And it's
Why
like,
don't I see a change?
yeah,
It's because sometimes you're good enough isn't good enough.
right.
And that all again breaks down to people just don't know. They don't know. Either they don't know because they weren't taught to know better, or there's not enough information out there to know better. And in some cases, I found in what I do, there's some people that even if they did know better, they wouldn't care because some people give up. They're lazy. They're just, you know, they can't grasp the concept.
Yeah. You know what it is? I feel like there's a misinformation campaign out there. The food industries and the people who profit off of all this, the pharmaceutical companies, like we've got this food pyramid that's been out for, I don't know, since the 60s or the 90s, I think maybe when they did the food pyramid. And
I don't know. That's garbage.
it's garbage. And if you look
They
at,
put pizza on there. Did you see that? They
no, is
put
that new?
pizza on the food. Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
In my new medical journals that I have at home, because I get updated medical journals every year, because I constantly have to stay on top of my craft. Pizza is on there. I was like, how is cauliflower crust maybe, but no, pizza is in the, and I'm just like, what?
That's in so it's like, and as adults we see this, right? Especially where your journey and everything, and my journey, we see this and we're like, that's insane. But some little kid, 14-year-old 13-year-old kid, they don't know. They're like, oh yeah,
Yep.
cauliflower pizza or pizza or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm running with it. I'm having it three times a day, and I'm healthy.
I'm healthy. You got to get your dairy products in, you get your meat and your cheese and your eggs and everything. And it's like, we're not taught balance. So
No.
that's my thing is, whatever we're taught, whatever the conventional knowledge is, we have to know it's wrong, because if it wasn't wrong, we'd be healthier, and we're just
Right.
getting worse.
Right.
So
And like I said, I think that goes back to people just not wanting to know.
that's true.
And I really feel like, because I did live in Europe for 5 years, I feel like our soil is so nutrient dense. There's no nutrients in our soil when we grow our food. When I lived in Europe, the food was just so different.
Yeah.
It was good. It was nutritious.
Yeah.
And I think here, because we mass produce it so much, because it's all a money game. I won't touch corn. I won't even buy corn because it has that patent to it. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm even skeptical about a lot of the local organic farmer markets that I go to.
Yeah.
I'm like, you really have to be careful. And it goes down to educating yourself on what's going on with the food that you're eating and where it's grown. I only eat seasonal fruits and vegetables. I don't want to eat something that's flown in from 600 miles away or 1,000 miles away, that's
Right.
sprayed with all sorts of chemicals to keep it fresh longer on the shelf. I will only eat what's in season and what's locally grown to me, which, thank the Lord, I'm in Southern California.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful array of vegetables and fruits, but not everybody's that lucky. So you kind of do the best that you can. But then that goes back to our food nutrition supply system here in this country. It's just not nutrient dense.
Right. So we really, it's to the point where we really have to be growing our own food, and that's something else we got to learn. And it's like,
Yep.
we've got these busy lives, we've got kids, our marriages aren't going well, the game is on, and so we have so much going on. We're so distracted. We're like, we don't want to have to go and learn about food. We want to just go to the grocery store and buy it. And so
Yep.
one of the areas that's the most impactful when it comes to our health, we completely ignore it. And and then you're in school for you know, I don't know, 10 hours a day, whatever it is, and you
Yep.
don't learn any of this stuff in school, but they'll teach you calculus or something, trigonometry that
That
you'll
you
never
don't
use,
use again.
you know. They'll teach you some history or whatever that you will, unless you're going to be a
Never
history
use
teacher,
again.
you'll never use. But they won't teach you how to grow fruits and vegetables. And it's like they won't teach you how to build a credit score. Like they won't teach you how to buy a house. Nothing
Yep.
that we could use
How
will
to
they
pay off debt.
right.
How credit cards really work.
Exactly.
And well, remember earlier we discussed how things are a cycle. So emotional eating, to toxic relationships, to toxic eating. The same thing goes for healthy eating. As soon as you clear your mind and you actually educate yourself and start eating healthy, you get those healthy relationships. You get those healthy, like-minded people. You get those people who are on your same wavelength. You get those people who, when you bring them into your home and into your space, because they're like-minded with you, it begets more positive energy, which makes you have the energy to, instead of draining you like an emotional vampire of toxicity
Right.
type of people, you have the energy to go on a hike. You have energy to build those planters in your backyard. You want to do these things together. You have the energy to go here and there to the farmers markets, to cook at home, to eat at home, to find that vegan restaurant. You have the energy to do the things that make you happy and healthy to do and put you in that place. And I think that too, a lot of it is, I think that people need to be more emotionally and mental aware. I mean, we've all had, I know my childhood wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the worst, but it
Right.
wasn't the greatest. So I think that we need to go back and heal ourselves from a very young age, because we carry things with us, even though we don't think we do, from a
Mm-hmm.
very young age through the rest of our lives, if we don't figure out why we do the things we do, in the self-harming behaviors with the eating and the toxic relationships. And you know I think that it just all, like I said, it all encompasses each other. Everything is a cycle. This gives you this, gives you this, give this and this.
Mm-hmm.
So I did start, when I started my health journey and I found a healthy alternative and I started incorporating the templates that I've learned on this channel into other things. I did start meditation. I did start yoga. I did start, and not everybody is going to go towards this, but I started my crystal healing. Everything that I want around me, I want it to be healing. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be positive.
Right.
And that includes the food I eat. I want my food to be healing and positive from the inside out.
Yep.
So I think that it all encompasses each other. I think you have to treat everything as a whole and not just the weight, because I've tried that. I've tried systems, I've tried exercises, I've tried gyms, I've tried food delivery, prepackaged this, hello for like all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the weight never stayed off until I started loving myself holistically as a whole
Right.
from the inside out.
That's the key. That's the key. I'm glad that other people are saying it, because it's like when it's just me saying it, that Chris always says that. It's like take take care of your entire being, mentally, physically, spiritually. The weight loss is great. We love seeing it. It's like boom in your face. I lost 100 pounds. But
Yep.
what makes it sustainable is the lifestyle. It's approaching it from a holistic point of view. And kind of going
And
back to what,
treating everything.
right. And going back to what you said earlier about, when you start getting healthier and mentally, you invite, not necessarily on purpose either, but other people are invited into your life on a similar frequency. It goes back to that
Energy.
saying that you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around. And we can actually purposely put ourselves around the type of people we want to become,
Right.
like even if you're not there yet, but if you
Yep.
know that, you could put yourself around those type of people and you will naturally kind of adopt their habits and their way of thinking, and it rubs off on you.
I agree. Yeah, I'm probably going to get some flack from some people in the medical profession about my ideations, because a lot of people that I work with know how I feel to an extent, but I don't think a lot of people know exactly. They don't expect to hear someone in the medical profession say the radical things that I've said.
Yeah.
They want you to stay by the book, prescribe this, prescribe that,
Yeah.
work on this, and that's that. Send them home.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's so much more than that. And I've told people at work or other colleagues, this is how I feel and this is how it should be done. And people just, oh, okay, yeah, and brush you off. But it's true. I'm living proof that if I can come through the things that I've come through, let's even forget about life-wise, marriages and family, health-wise.
Right.
If I could come through it health-wise, that should be enough for people to wake up and say, holy, there's some stuff to this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's I think there's an ego that comes along with having all that knowledge, especially when you're in the medical industry.
Right.
Depending on what field you're in, you're talking almost 14 years, and there's the white coat, and people listen to you, and so it's that ego, man. That is one thing that I actively make sure that I don't get. Like, I don't get an overinflated ego. I'm always willing to listen to anybody, even a child. I think children are so intelligent,
Right. Oh,
Uh,
they are.
yeah, like,
There's little sponges.
yep. There was a lady on the group posted, I think maybe yesterday, about her child. I guess, he's like a really even killed person, just even tempered, and he was like sad. He was like, I don't know why, but I'm just sad for no reason. He's like, I think I need some nutrition. Kids just use words that they know,
I
and
saw that post.
you saw it. And
It
so
was good.
he had some water.
And he's learning those cycles and those good habits from her.
Mm-hmm.
She's being a great role model.
Right. So
her.
it's amazing seeing, first of all, that kids are being taught, but also that parents are listening, and that builds a much better relationship with your kids, because you're listening. It's not just, oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Which
There's
is
a lot of
exactly
that's gone on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, and that's what,
seen and not heard.
Right. And that's what's happening with a lot of the clients that are going to the healthcare facilities. It's like the client, they're just not being heard,
Yeah, I saw a video, because I belong to, I watch a lot of different channels for fasting, and I saw a video a few days ago about authority regarding your fasting and your nutrition, and
Yeah.
authority doesn't always know everything. You have to be your own advocate in nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone has a white coat, or someone has a degree, or someone's been practicing or a book, a medical journal says, you need to do this. It's not one size fits all. It's like a pair of shoes. Everybody has a size that fits them. I'm 8.5. Someone may be a 9.
Right.
So they might need a little something more, and they might need a little something less. It's all very, very individual. And like I said, I use the fasting, the AHA, as a template.
Right.
Which is what everybody should do. Use it as a template and do their research. And you, like you said, you've been doing this 3 years. You're on the same journey as everybody else, trying to find your way, and I'm on, even though I've been in this 7 years, and I'm a physical therapist, and I have my PhD in physical therapy, sports physical therapy medicine, I'm still learning as much as the next guy. I want to learn. The day you say you don't want to learn anymore, you know it all, it's already over for you.
Yep. True. And that's, I really encourage people, don't take my word for it. Experiment. I do my best to do my own experiments and present that information, but everybody needs to do it themselves. And I think one of the reasons the group is so successful is I don't like ruling with an iron fist. Oh, if you're not following this the way I want you to, then you can't participate. It's really all about, okay, person A tried this, person B tried this, I tried something else. Hey, let's all talk about it. What were your experiences? And then from that wealth of knowledge that we've kind of created, we could share that with, the next person. And now they've got 3 individuals who tried 3 different things and got 3 different results, and they can maybe pick what works best for them or whatever.
That's what I love. I love about the group that we have here is, people are, other people, and anybody is allowed to upload their lives of their journey. They go live, they upload their journeys, they put their 2 cents on the page. I love that,
Yeah.
because I can grab a little bit of everything. I like to see the lives where people are like, hey, I'm on day XYZ, and this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. I compare that with things I'm going through. Hey, maybe if you do this and tweak it this way, it helps you with this. I love that, because it's a meeting of the minds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not one way where everything is just out for, you know, one way, and that's it. That's the only way it is. No, I love how you let people go on there and put their experiences and things that they're going through. It's probably, I'm on that page more than anything in between clients, you know,
Yeah.
before I go to bed, like more than I'm on my own page responding to people. I'm on that page, like, oh, what can I learn today? And also as well, I know many people have said this on the page, and I have to concur. I go on the page when I'm in a fast and I feel like I'm losing ground.
Mm-hmm.
I go on the page and I get so much strength from seeing, hey, I'm on day 17. I'm on day, 12. I'm on day 3. I'm just starting. And you also see the people who are like, hey, this is my 3rd time of day 1. I'm still trying to start. I can't pick myself up.
Right.
I love too, because that's human.
Right.
That's human. That's human reaching for that human, acceptance, love, appreciation. Give me a little bit of feel. And I love that.
That's real. That's genuine. I think what I've tried to do is establish that for the group and for everyone, is like that genuine vibe, just we tell it like it is. We tell our experiences.
Right.
I know there's a lot of YouTube channels, and there's a lot of health professionals or coaches. They put on facades, and
Mm-hmm.
some people are tuned in enough, and they can see it like, man, there's something wrong with this guy. Others aren't as tuned in, and they get all wrapped up in all the extra stuff and all of the ego, right, and all this. And yeah, I think that people they like that vibe, and they feel comfortable because we've kind of set that standard, and so they do it. And no one's punished. Right. I don't punish people for doing that, or even if you make a mistake, like we've got a couple guidelines for the group. If you break a guideline, it's not like you just get kicked out the group. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a very loving environment, and it's supportive. It's genuinely supportive.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
It truly is.
Yeah, like I don't do anything else on Facebook. I actually don't like Facebook. So yeah, it's
oh man.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, yeah, you need it to grow your channel and get the awareness out, but it can also turn on you.
Yeah,
you have to be very careful. I know this on my professional and my personal page. I have to be very careful of things that some people don't have the same ideals as me, and
right,
and that's okay. And there are people who, even if I post something that no one agrees with, not everyone is accepting as me and say, okay, well, we can agree to disagree. Some people want to argue about it.
Right.
And again, that goes back to where their state of mind is. Are they healthy? Are they toxic? Are they doing what they need to do to put themselves in a place? Because there have been so many times I've seen things on people's page that I don't agree with, but I leave it alone, or I move along, because it's not my deal. It's not my jam. And it's not my who am I to tell you it doesn't work for you? If it works for you, if you like it, I love it.
Right. That's a great point. I feel like in this day and age, it's almost like we have to share our opinion about everything all the time, and we don't, especially if it's going to be negative. And like if someone's saying, hey, I'm trying this grape only thing, and you could tell they're really excited about it, like, yeah, I've been having great progress, and you think, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You can't just eat grapes. That's too much sugar. You're not getting a proper nutritional balance. If those are the things that are going through your head, then you're going to be like, that's dumb. You're going to comment like, no, that's dumb. You got to do this, that. That's like the natural reaction. Or, you could just be curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you want to learn more and whatever, you could be curious. Hey, what is that all about? Why are you doing that? Like, where'd you get that from? What are you experiencing? And it's
You
like,
know, yeah.
go ahead.
One way for me that I've learned in my years, one thing that I've learned is I've learned more from just sitting back and watching than asking questions. Um, I did kind of watch the page for a while before I actually tried to adopt some of the fundamentals on the page, because I wanted to see what people's response was to some of the ideations on the page, um, because like I have a very scientific mind, so I want proof before I make, I need to see, give me some facts.
Right.
um, and that goes with everything else. you know if someone's doing a new grape diet, you could always just sit back and watch how they do,
Right.
instead of putting your foot in your mouth or putting yourself in a situation where if it doesn't affect you, you know, let them have that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Don't bust their bubble or don't bring them down. But I feel like in a way too, when you get your mind healthier and your body healthier, you get to a point where you think healthier and you do healthier things. You don't feel the need to tear people down.
Yeah.
You don't feel the need to be sarcastic or rude. Now, I'll have a day or two here and there when I'm fasting and I haven't eaten, and I'm like, hey, listen, let me put a little sign on that says, give me my
Right.
space. But for the most part, I mean, everyone has good and bad days, but for the most part, your thought processes are healthier. You don't think the negative as much all the time. You don't think, you're not in traffic on the way home and you're like, oh, this is gonna cut me off. And
Right.
you
Yeah.
you let things go a little more. You get more patient, you get more kind, and you get more humble and more graceful. So I just think that it all goes hand in hand. When you put sunshine in your body, you tend to put sunshine out.
Absolutely. That's what I've experienced, and I've seen it happen time and time again. So you call it toxic thinking. We all have like this toxic. It's from the foods we eat and all the negativity we absorb on a daily basis.
Yep.
And when you get healthier and you start letting that stuff go, things that would like I remember getting upset about stuff, and I was thinking to myself, why am I so mad about this? Like, if you've ever got upset about something and in that moment you could reflect and be like, why am I so upset about this? That's not really you. Like, that's not
Right.
really you. There's something that's manipulating, your attitude and your feelings and your emotions. And when you get healthy, that stuff goes away. you know you're not perfect, but it goes away, and it's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, everything is energy. Everything is energy. From the water you drink, to the food you eat. If you're eating, you know, negative food,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel negative.
Yep.
Uh, you know, everything is energy. And people who are more in tune, um, you know, we get the brunt of it all. We feel it even more.
Right.
So, you know, that, value meal that you get through the drive-through on your way home may be quick and easy for you, but in the long run, is it really than just going home and preparing a quick something that's a little, that's healthy? Because it's energy. Are you going to put this negative energy in you that, you got at a window, or are you going to put some healthy energy into you that you're making yourself with own love and positive energy?
Yep. And that's another thing I noticed when I started cooking more at home.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I enjoyed cooking healthy foods more than I ever enjoyed cooking steak or, just the way I used to eat. I just
Right.
did.
Right.
And then so you want to cook more, and also the flavors. It was just on my taste bud. It was just so much more flavor. It was just it's a very enriching experience. And
Like
so
waking up.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, the McDonald's burger or whatever is really easy to get, but we have to make the correlation between what that little dollar burger, how convenient it is, and what it's going to do to us later on down the line.
Right.
So
100%.
Very good point. Very good point. So we're okay. So like you're at a point now. I feel like you're at a point where the cancer and stuff is behind you. That's just me. That's my experience, especially based on the things you're saying. I don't think you got to worry about it anymore.
Right.
Where are you looking to go from here? You know, like, I think you mentioned did you want to lose some more weight, or, you know,
I
what are,
do.
okay.
I do. I definitely want to lose like another 20, 25 pounds. And that for me is just to get to a baseline point where I feel healthy with myself.
Mm,
Um, and I kind of want to do it too for spiritual reasons. I feel like the closer I get to feeling like myself, the
mm,
better I'll feel. I'll feel spiritually. I do connect a lot with meditation and yoga. The cancer stuff is basically behind me. I still get tested. I have some tests coming up within the next week or two here that I'm dealing with because my numbers are a little high. But I mean, until I see that something's, I'm not going to stress about it or worry about it until
right,
they come to me and say, hey, this is something you need to worry about.
right,
Um, because why worry about something that you can't control? You know,
right,
it's the same way I feel about a lot of things going on right now in social media. Why worry about things you can't control? Why stress yourself? But that's whatever.
right.
Uh, and I plan to keep pushing forward in my journey of just knowledge. I want to collect as much knowledge as I can, and I want to try to shuffle that off to some of my patients, the ones that are receptive to it, and just my family, grow my family happy and healthy so they can pass it on. I want it to be generational. I want my kids to pass it on to their kids. I don't want happy meals and value meals being passed on like it's been passed on for the last 2 or 3 generations in my family because that's all they knew. I want to change that thought pattern and pass on healthy eating and healthy living so that can go to my kids and their kids and so on, and kind of erase the whole happy meal, you know, mindset
Mm,
of my family. And you know, I feel like that if we could, as a society, as a community, grow more towards that, we'll see happier and healthier children, not children doing things to harm others or themselves, or their mind will go in a more positive direction. I mean, of
right.
course, there's other factors, you know, there's chemical imbalances, there's depression, there's other things that are factors, but the
Hmm.
healthier you can get yourself, as healthy as you can be, you know, a lot of those factors can be eliminated.
Right. Hey, you said it all. Passing. It's you're passing on. They, you know, this whole generational wealth, and I believe that true wealth is in knowledge. So you're passing on generational wealth, and that's I'm
Right.
100% for you. Like, changing the world really takes us focusing on our children. So, you know,
Right.
if we can start, you know, creating avenues for kids to really absorb this information, which through the parents is the best way, but
Mm-hmm.
even some outside sources where we can kind of teach kids the right way to eat. You're right. A lot of this stuff, just all the bullying, and it's all been getting progressively worse over time.
There's so many kids that are hurting and not healing anymore. They're hurting and they don't know how to express that hurt. And it's really, it's bad. And like I said, once you get them in a positive mind frame, hopefully a lot of that hurting will turn to healing.
100%. 100%. Well, I'm for it. Now you got me thinking. I'm thinking in the future, a healthy alternative we probably need to have some outreach, some type of outreach programs for, you know, exclusive for kids, where we're teaching them the proper things. And that sounds like fun too, working with
Reteach
kids.
the real food pyramid.
Yeah, teach them the real food pyramid, and maybe even come up with some classes, teach them how to grow their own food. That's one thing that I've actually been learning recently. I'm not for conventional wisdom, like for anything. I just by default, I always want something outside. I always want an alternative. So I've been looking
Right.
at alternative ways for gardening and things like that. So hopefully I'll have
You know,
some.
back in the day, way back in the day when I was in high school, they had horticulture. We did have, it was mandatory that you take horticulture, but because of government funding, tax cuts, you know, all of the extracurriculars get cut, and the only ones that suffer are the kids.
Right.
You know, but again, I feel like that's, you know, that's the government's way of making, yet again, more money.
More money.
You know, let's cut the good things that these kids need to take with them, and throw them, you know, some more fast food restaurants, and then we'll just throw some more pills on it. Oh, and by the way, let's tax it all.
Right.
It's a good way of the government to keep the money and population control.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. See, you went somewhere I wasn't even gonna take it. See, talking about population control and
I mean, and you know, there may be people out there that agree or disagree, and they're more than welcome to. But just from me personally, and I would never try to make anyone see it my way.
Right.
But from things that I've seen from school, from medical school, to my profession now and colleagues, and just things that I've been around my whole life as a whole, the way I see things is it just seems like a big old game.
Yeah, it really does.
You know, we're just another number in a system, to insurance companies, to doctors, to the government.
Yeah.
It's a big old game. And let's throw you a tax return every year just to keep you a little happy so you don't have a revolt.
And a Super Bowl.
You know?
You gotta have a Super Bowl.
And a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, and let's put a McDonald's on every corner so we can keep you sheep, you know. You know.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, you'll get no arguments here. I'm with you.
It's sad.
But it's been amazing talking to you. I really enjoy speaking to people who are in the health profession vein, because number one, it gives me hope that, you know, even people who are that close to the beast, they can see its fangs. And people like you have a very unique insight. Nurses and things like that have a very unique insight, and they can really confirm a lot of things. There's a lot of, you know, things that when you're in those types of jobs, you kind of have to turn a blind eye to, and you notice it is like, why do they do this?
Our nurses don't get enough credit. They're on the front line more than most of these doctors.
Right.
And these nurses are close to a lot of the patients, and they see more than the doctors.
Right.
In my experience, and a lot of the experiences that I've seen in hospitals and what have you. And I really feel like nurses don't get paid enough and recognition enough. They really are they can recommend to the doctor signs a slip, and that's it, you're done. The doctor sees you for 2 or 3 minutes. The nurse is with you the whole time. They know your story. They know your ins and outs. They know you as a whole. They're not just treating the one little problem you're in there for. They're not treating the splinter that you come in for. They're treating your whole hand, your whole body, your whole psyche. They're calming you down. They're treating you as a person. So I feel like that is very, very important to give credit where credit is due to the people actually on the front line.
I'm with you. Shout out to all the nurses. Y'all work hard. I got a lot of nurse friends. Like they
work super hard.
Yeah. Oh, my mom's a nurse, and you know, so trust me, I know. Thank you. Thank you, nurses, for all of the bedside manner and for caring. Some nurses even get fired trying to give people alternative advice. It's sad, you know what I mean? Trying to help people.
Well, because you're going against the money machine.
Yeah, can't do that.
Can't do that.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Do you have any last words? You've said it all. What else you got?
I'm good.
You good?
I mean, we could always do a part 2 if need be, if there's questions.
Oh, definitely. One of the things that I'm considering in the future is having certain people come back, do lives, do follow-ups and things like that. So we'll definitely keep you in mind. Yeah. All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this interview, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And that's the like button in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Also, make sure you're hitting the notification bell so that you're being alerted every time that we do a new video. If you haven't already, join the Facebook group. If you don't have Facebook, make a private account and join the Facebook group. or you can check us out on ahealthyalternative.org. We've got a forum on there, and you can come and collaborate and talk. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and we will see you guys next time.